What's up, Terrell?
What's up,
How
bro?
you doing today, bro?
I'm good.
Good, man. What we doing here today, bro?
Man, we're here to discuss, what's gonna happen next as far
It's
as,
cool.
election and re-election and what's my plans going forward.
Perfect. So, what brought you here today? Like, meaning, where you come from? You from Omaha?
Yeah, I'm from Omaha. I grew up in North Omaha, but I lived all over as well, but primarily lived in Omaha, lived in North Omaha.
Yeah. I know. I remember you wrestling. I
Yep.
remember living on Hartman and Miller Park, coming around Ellison, grandma living there, Big Mama and all your cousins and the whole family coming. We used to do a lot. I remember that. It used to be
Yeah,
real
for
fun
sure,
going
man.
around that corner.
A lot of great times, a lot of good memories back
Yep,
then, man.
yep.
For sure.
And I'm proud of you, man, because you could have went the other way, according to what we already know. So, so what really influenced you to get into wrestling and college and doing the things that separate yourself from the environment we grew up in?
Uh, what got me into wrestling, my cousins was wrestling, Trent and them.
Yep.
And one of the coaches came to my house one day and was like asked if I would wrestle, and I was like, yeah. But in my head, I'm thinking it's like WWE, because I never watched
Yeah.
wrestling before. So I'm like, yeah, I go like it's WWE. So I go, and it's totally different. But it was something that I found love for it, and kept doing it. I think I might have fell off like one summer or something, but outside of that, I wrestled all of my whole life until I was
Yeah.
in college and graduating.
So how do you go from sports to politics?
I know that I came back from school after going to school in St. Louis and getting my bachelor's, and then I started just trying to figure out what would I do next and what was my future, or what should I do. But it was also around the same time when all the stuff happened with Michael Brown and all those type of things, and then Trayvon Martin had happened while I was in St. Louis, and that's kind of when my mind started to shift towards like paying attention. I always paid attention, but when that happened, I was like, oh, to my community, I try to do it.
So what year did you first run?
Well, I started running in 2019, but I didn't get elected until 2020.
And you got elected in 2020.
Yeah,
That's amazing, man. Congratulations.
thank you.
So, since you've been elected, what has been some of the most impactful changes in things that you've done as the senator of District 11, right?
That's a lot. I mean, I think the biggest one, I think I've engaged with the community a lot, and I think that's impactful. I've been responsive and been there and been in many community spaces and community meetings and events just to be present to show that just because I got elected a senator doesn't take away from me being from this community and being a part of this community.
Yep.
But as far as legislation, I would say my first bill I think I passed was LB 451, which ended hair discrimination in the workplace, which is super important for our people because our hair grow a little different, and for many years we've been told you can't wear your hair like that to work.
Yeah. And didn't you say it was a nickname for that?
So it's known across the country as the Crown Act.
The Crown Act.
Yeah,
Like that.
we didn't necessarily use that language, but it's pretty much crafted and modeled after
Yeah.
that.
That's good.
Yep.
So, could you share why the economics hold a special significance for you?
Economics?
Yeah.
Because I think economics is at the root of almost every issue in our community. And it's not to say money solves everything, because money is everything. But when you look at it, economics is the problem. We don't have the economic environment within North Omaha to prevent a lot of things. And that's why it's important to me, because I think if we could solve poverty, we stop the flow of our people going into the streets and going into the prisons and the jails. I think if we solve poverty or address economics better, we have better educational outcomes. Moms and dads won't have to work 2 or 3 jobs in their home, and they're able to take care of their kids. They don't got to be stressed out, and those type of things as well. And our health, North Omaha has the lowest life expectancy in the city. That would change, because we start eating better, we start feeling better. It's to me, the root of most of the issues is poverty and economics.
That's good. So your involvement in prisons is well known. A lot of people in the city know that you go to the prisons pretty frequent. How did that come about?
It kind of just happened, but I've always been, even prior to getting in office, criminal justice was something I was, super concerned about, because majority of the people in our prisons are from North Omaha, and disproportionately. And I got a lot of family in prison and friends and people I grew up with, and you be like, dang, where'd that dude at? I ain't seen him in a while. Then you go to the state pen and you see him, like, man, I ain't seen you in forever, but this is where they've been. And it's important to me because I remember visiting the prisons when I was a kid and going to see my dad, and it's always stuck with me. But also, mass incarceration is a big thing, and it has affected our community worse than others. And I think a lot of times when we talk about this issue, we don't get the other side of it. And what I mean by that is we don't get the perspective of the people in prison.
That's good.
We only get it from the police and the county attorneys and people like us in the community saying how good or bad it is, but we don't ever get their perspective. And I thought it was important for me as a senator to go inside and really engage with them and try to figure out how do they feel about these things. And a lot of the bills, there's been a few bills that I've worked with them on, like, hey, what y'all think about this? Does this work for y'all? What do y'all think is needed? Because I think that's kind of how we should do things. We should involve all stakeholders. It shouldn't matter that they in a state penitentiary.
That's good. That's good. I got a lot of family members locked up as well, so I can relate to that. Yeah, that's real nice. How often do you go to the prisons?
I just went last week. I was there for a Circle of Concerned Lifers meeting. I try to go at least 3 or 4 times a year if I can. So, but I try to not just go to one. I still ain't been to them all yet just because of time, but my hope is to be able to get to everyone in the state.
So what's your thoughts on the juvenile judicial system? And how do you think that we can bring about changes for that?
The juvenile system?
Yeah.
It's horrible. The county is building a jail downtown that's going to house majority of our kids when you look at the data. It's not big enough for those kids. And the juvenile justice system is messed up because you're just dealing with so many different people. It's not like the adult system. You got child welfare involved. You got the county. You got the state. So it's screwed up. I mean, I feel like that's a part of the problem too, because a lot of these kids enter the system and they don't get the services they need. But the crazy thing about this is a lot of kids don't get help that you would be like, hey, we need to pull this kid in. But until they commit a crime, the juvenile justice system ain't trying to deal with them. So you're just pretty much waiting on them to mess up, which is sad.
So what do you think that we can put in place, or what can you put in place that could prevent the kids from having to deal with the justice system?
I introduced a bill a couple years ago to create like a family resource center, a juvenile justice center. And the purpose of that was to grab the kids on the front end, give them an outlet and a space to go to ask for help, get help, but also involve the families. Because I think a lot of times when we think about these issues, we think about just saving the kids. A lot of times you got to save the families too. How can we save a kid and tell them to go back into a burning house? We got to work both ways. So if the parent need help, we got to help the parents too. And it's not always, people be like, oh, it starts in the home. Sometimes people struggle. Our people struggle. We ain't in the best situation sometimes. And yeah, we all got responsibility as parents, but we can't just pile on them as well.
That's good. Man, that's good.